Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Bad Brad, and this is going to be my demo today of the MXR Randy Rhoads Distortion Plus, a special edition. Now, this is not a limited edition. They're saying, I think this is going to be around for a while. But look, man, you got these cool sort of worn gold looking knobs. Everything's gold, all the screws, everything. It's white in that Concord V style finish. It comes with a cool box, Concord box. It comes in a nice bag with the Randy Rhoads signature. It comes with a little booklet inside. And in this booklet, it talks about the way they came about this pedal and getting the specs off his original board and all that. And then there they are getting the specs off the original board. Now this board was called the chip pan because the noise that it made was like the sound of potato chips being fried on a pan, right? And look, man, I am a guy, my first pedal that I ever bought was an MXR Distortion Plus. So using one of these is something that I grew up using when I would listen to Van Halen records. I would turn on my Distortion Plus and I plug it into a clean Fender amp, and I thought I was getting close to Van Halen tone. Well, look, this circuit is primitive by today's standards. Back when I was a kid, you had maybe Distortion Plus and a big muff and a fuzz face, and that was about all you had as far as distortion pedals or fuzz pedals. And so all you have with this is output and distortion. Now look, if you plug this straight into a clean amp, you're going to notice you're going to lose a lot of bottom end the minute you step on it. This is not a magic pedal that's going to instantly make you transform into Randy Rhoads. But I tell you this, if you spend a little time with it, if you find the right secret sauce for your rig, you could find you get some really cool tones. Now, what I ended up doing for this demo is plugging it into my Synergy head and using the Soldano module, setting it up with the overdrive knob up, the tight switch I believe was engaged, and setting it for about mid-level gain, right? And you'll hear first the tone I get. I'm using an Epiphone Les Paul custom that's got I believe it's a Seymour Duncan Alnico II pickup. And I'm using this pedal to send the amp into that Randy Rhoads searing, roasting, frying, chip pan distortion, that sound that we know and love. It's an over-the-top sound. Now look, this is how I always set these up. Back in the day, it'd be distortion all the way up, and then you could see the volume knob is set very high. You'll lose some low end when you turn on this pedal. There's not a ton of volume in this, so you're gonna wanna run your volume high. And to me, it sounds best with everything cranked. And I'll tell you why. Back in those days, you gotta figure Randy was hot on the heels of Edward Van Halen, and whether you think he surpassed Edward or he didn't, either way, it was everybody was searching for that edge, whether it was modded amplifiers. And look, Randy's Marshalls were no doubt probably cranked, and there was probably a good amount of gain already without this pedal engaged. And engaging this, just like I'm engaging it in this demo, all of a sudden you hear it, and you hear that searing, sizzling, chip pan cooking guitar tone with endless sustain, easy legato fluid. You can do hammer-ons. You can do all that stuff. And, it instantly, once I found where it worked in the rig that I was using with this, I got incredible tones, very inspiring tones. This is not a plug in instantly and play and immediately sound like Randy Rhoads. You're going to have to find how it works best with your rig. Now, I think this is a super cool pedal. Does it sound exactly in my mind like my original Distortion Plus? I'm not sure. I feel like maybe my original one had a little bit more gain than this. But I tell you what, combining it with an amp with a nice crunch, this sends it over the top. And dude, you've got infinite sustain. You've got the ability to play legato like crazy. Your riffs have that over the top sizzle. And you could definitely add this to your arsenal and dial it in with your rig to get some of that Randy Rhoads magic. This is the MXR Randy Rhoads Special Edition Distortion Plus. Here we go. All right, thank you everybody for tuning into my fun, just largely just having fun cranking this pedal through my Synergy rig. And man, if you want to get you one of these, I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can get one of these, and I'd appreciate it. It helps out the channel. Thank you everybody for watching this demo.